All right, let's on your desktop, you guys should have a link for the Intellij IDEA, which is the IDE that we will be using. Go ahead and click on that, open it up. Okay, so it should open up like this, giving you various options. Any projects that you have will show up over here. You guys are going to go ahead and click Create New Project. That's going to open up. It's going to give us some options. You want to make sure that you're selecting for your STK. You want to select, and we may have to go over it in class, where to find the JRE file. Basically, what you want to do is you want to, if you're going in, you're going to look in your program files, and you're going to click Java, and that's what we want to look for. Okay, so you're going to pick the newest one of those. Pick it. Helps if I just select the right file. You pick your JDK. We're just going to leave these go. We're not doing anything here. Okay, and then we're going to click Next. Now, this, the only thing that it does is it adds a main method. We're going to go ahead and select it. So it's going to have one Java class that's going to include a main method. We're going to hit Next. Here, you're going to give your project name. Okay, so we can just call this one Hello World. And how we write the name is the same way that we're going to write classes, where the first letter of each word is capitalized. There are no spaces. There are no characters other than letters. Project location. You guys are going to go into your Z drive, and you're going to locate. So I'm just doing this in my desktop, but you guys are going to locate in your H drive. You're going to create some folder structure. So let's go ahead and do that here, so you guys can see that. Actually, I'll do it in my documents. So if I go to, now this would be your H drive. You're going to right click, you're going to go to New, and we're going to call this one CP1 or CP1 projects. Okay, click Enter. Now you're going to drill into that, so you're going to click on it, and this is going to be your first project. So all of our projects are going to be inside of your CP1 projects. You're not going to have it anywhere else. It's not going to be on the desktop. It's not going to be anywhere else. It's going to be in your virtual drive that you have access to all and on anywhere in the school. So inside CP1 projects, we're going to right click, and every time we create a new project, we're going to create a new folder for it. So this one you're going to call Hello World. The same way as what we want it. We're going to go ahead and hit Enter. So now on here, now I'm going to look for it. So now I put mine in Documents, but you guys are going to go ahead and put that in your H drive. CP1 Projects, Hello World. I have that highlighted. I go ahead and click OK. So now I can see that that's where it is. Base package. Usually this is your website. We could just go ahead and call it Licking Heights. But it's all backwards. So your website would be backwards. So com.lickingheights. You could just leave it like that on every single project. We're going to go ahead and click Finish. There are going to be some things that I'm not going to show you guys what they do yet, because I don't want to confuse you guys. All right, so this is what opens up when I'm looking at Intellij. I have an area where I can do my coding. and I have numbered lines. It's going to continue setting up. I can click down here and I could open up other things in here. So if you wanted to do some additional learning on your own, you could click on this. Okay. You could click on your project structure to look at your project if you were creating any more than just a single class. We can run from here, clicking this or going into the Run tab. We can debug, which we'll get into eventually. A lot of the times you guys are going to end up spending time in either File, Code, Refactor, or Run. Okay? Code is dealing with anything about code. So if you need to create some type of bootstrap type code, then you're going to go ahead and click on there. Now I've finished indexing. So here, File, this is dealing with files. So if we're going to save anything, it automatically saves, but you could go ahead and save just to make sure before you close out of it. You could export it. We are going to do version control eventually, and I'll show you guys how to do that. We can go into code, and it allows us to create different methods to generate code. Okay. But it also has us auto indent lines. This is where you're going to want to spend some of your time. So you want to keep everything properly indented so it's easy to read. We're not going to really go into analyze. Refactor, we can rename stuff, and we will be doing some of that later on. If you're doing Android builds, you would play around with this. Running, we can run the main, we can debug it, and we could profile if we're using Android. And all the others you're pretty much not going to be using. You guys can go into settings if you wanted to change some things. Appearance, you could go to Intellij, and that's the white if you don't like the dark. You can change your menus and toolbars. You could change a lot of things. How your code looks, how your font looks. You can have it where it's a larger font. If that's too small for you, you can resize it. Okay. You could have a different color scheme than what we got. You can change some other things in here. Most of the stuff that you'd want to spend time in, though, if you didn't like the look of it, is in font and in appearance. Okay. So let's go ahead and cancel out of that. All right, so here is our project structure. We have the main class that we're going to be working with. Okay. We have our project that we created, the Hello World project, and that's where it's stored. Okay. Now I can open it up, look at it. We have external libraries that we don't really need to play around with, but this JDK that we pulled in has a whole bunch of libraries of code that we are going to end up using. Okay. In the Hello World project, this is us. You have a .idea file structure. We don't need to mess with really anything in there. Okay. We have an hello world.iml file. We don't need to touch that either. On all your projects, you guys are going to drill down to source. So SRC, you're going to click it and open it up. There is the base package folder. And here is that main class. That's what this is right here. Okay. Now, in our code, things are broken down into different things, into smaller components. So we start with the class. Inside of the class, we have main. We have one main for all of your program. You don't have main in every single class that you create. So in our main class, right here, this is where we want to put our code. So the first program that you guys can do is to print something to the screen. So we want to print a hello world. Really, in any language that you learn, hello world is the beginning of it all. So we're going to type system with a capital S, Y-S-T-E-M. It's going to start helping us doing code completion. That's what we want. We're going to hit a dot, out, dot, print, LN. Okay, print line. All right, now there's a bunch of different ways that we can actually print stuff. We're going to go ahead and click this one. All of them are really the same. They're all spelled the same. It's just saying what type of data we can put in and if it's going to return anything to us. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And now I can type something. So I can type, and this is giving me what type of stuff I could actually put into it. I'm going to type in quotes, hello world. Oops, helps if I spell it right. Hello world. Now, if I want to run it, I can go ahead and click run. It's going to build it. It's going to check our code to make sure we don't have issues. If there are compiling issues, which we will get into, it's going to spit out errors and we have to fix them. Okay. Now, this is the code. Right now, all it's doing is just printing the screen. We don't have any screen set up. We are not going to be setting any type of screen up or anything like that. In CP1, you guys would do everything text-based, but the logic that we can do, the stuff that we can do with just text is amazing. Okay, so hello world. If I wanted to copy this and I wanted to type it out again, remember it's system.out.println. My name is, and let's do another one. Redbeard. Okay, now notice how that is indented. What we want to do is we want to hit Control A, copy it all, or select it all. We're going to go to code. We're going to go to auto indent lines. Bam. Now they're all in line. Okay, and we can run it again. It's going to do another build, and it's going to run our code. Each time we do system.out.println, we create another line. If I want to print all on the same line, my name is Redbeard, then instead of using system.out.println, I can go back to just system.out.print, and it will be one line. This will be on the same line as my name is. There we go. Okay, so some of the code, and this is what I do, if you are looking at it, we can usually open up a document editor and understand. Okay. When we are writing out lines, some of them print everything on a new line. So once this finishes, it will go to another line. This, because we're not mentioning the line, will print and it doesn't go to another line. And so this will print with another line. We'll print on the same line, and once it gets finished, then it's going to go to another line. That's why it looks like this, and now I have a space there. Okay, so it's ready to enter something else. All right, so play around with these two commands. First, start with the hello world. introduce yourself, and then I want you to create 3 more that, and I'm going to write a comment. This is a comment, it's 2 slashes. Let's do print 3 more lines about what you did last summer. Okay. Click enter, and this is where you're going to put it. Now, I should note, you see these curly brackets right here? When I select one, the other one gets highlighted. Those are brackets saying that anything inside of this method needs to happen between those brackets. If you want stuff to happen, it needs to be between those 2 brackets. If I have this right here, let me copy it and I place it outside of that bracket. So see how it's below? Now it's airing out. And if I run this, I'm going to get an error. And errors are actually a good thing. It helps us learn. So it says error on line 14 right there. In character 24. So if I count it out, that would be this. Java identifier expected. It doesn't understand what this is. Error 14, line 25, Java illegal start of type. This, it can't read what that is because it's outside of where it's supposed to be. Okay? So it's very important that when you're writing code, you are writing it where it's supposed to be, between the brackets. Now, there is no white space. That means if I do this, and I have huge spaces between my code, it'll make it a little bit unreadable, but it will run exactly the same. Those spaces will not show up in my code. Only the stuff, see right here, hello world, my name is Redbeard. Only the spaces that I want to happen between the quotes or what is in my code. So print line will go to another line. Print will keep it all in the same line and not do a carriage return. If I put a whole bunch of spaces, if I do a whole bunch of spaces inside of the quotes, okay, here it's not going to do anything. If I run this, you will see that outside of the quotes, it's not doing anything. My code would still run, but it makes it really hard for others to read. If I put spaces in between quotes, and I run this, we're going to see it here. There, see all those spaces that got introduced? That's because it was inside quotes. All right? So play around with those 2 commands for the code. Almost everything else that we are going to be doing from this point, you guys are going to be using this code. So you need to be familiar with it, be comfortable with it, especially when we start getting ready to do our next project. All right. Have fun. When you're done, you just go ahead, click Save All, and close it. Exit.